Hey everyone, in a few minutes when it gets dark, we're going to be testing out these night lights. We're going to be testing out this Streamlight. Rather, we're going to be using this one as the base because this one I've already have shot out to 200 yards. I did a video a few years ago, so I know what this can do. This doesn't, the batteries in this don't even have a full charge, okay, on the Streamlight, okay? So we're going to be retesting the Odin, okay? I had done a video a few nights ago. So I had given it a full charge like 3 days earlier. And when I was working with the light, I was getting like a vibration. Okay, and I found out that vibration means that the battery is low. So the battery had run down just from sitting there. Now it has been pretty cold, the temperatures had probably gone down to about 10 degrees over those 3 days. So we're gonna retest it. I checked it earlier. It did have a full charge. Okay. And we got the Feyachi. Now this is a budget light here, okay? We've done a few videos on this. This is a $50 light. So this one over here supposedly has 2,000 looms, okay? The Olight, it's the Olight Odin, has 1250 looms, all right? And the Streamlight has the least. That has the 1,000 looms, okay? And like I said, I've had that Streamlight out to 200 yards where I did a video where I was, actually hitting like a 12-inch target at 200 yards, okay? So I know what the Streamlight can do, so I'm kind of using that as a base. And I really want to see where these two are at. I was a little disappointed the first night with the Odin, the Olight Odin, but that, again, I found out that the battery had run down even though it was just sitting there. I guess it was a little too cold for it. The Streamlight basically sits in the same, in the same cold. I guess those batteries handle the freezing temperatures better, right? Because like I'll leave it for like a year or 2 years, and like every time I go, it just works. So the Streamlight batteries have been doing very well, and we're gonna see how this Feyachi does. All right, everyone. We're going to be comparing the Streamlight to the Olight to the Feyachi. Okay, so these are quoted in different powers. The Streamlight is 1,000 looms. Olight is 1,250 looms, and the Feyachi is quoted at 2,000 looms. Okay, so we're going to start off with the Streamlight. Now, the Streamlight does not have new batteries in it. In fact, the batteries do have quite a bit of use in it. So the thing is, I've had this the longest, and I've been able to make hits on a target at night at 200 yards. So I know it's a 200-yard light through the woods, because looking through the woods with the trees causing shadows versus looking through an open field is going to be very different. So let's start off with the Streamlight with whatever, these are not rechargeable batteries. The other two have rechargeable batteries. So these are non-rechargeable batteries. So let's see. Okay, that's 10 yards, 30 yards. I can see 50. I can see 65. I can see 75. I can see 100. Okay, I have a target out at 150 yards. I can barely make it out. I mean, certainly, like, I wouldn't even count that. Now with full batteries, like I said, I've made hits 200 yards. So with the half used up batteries, I can see I can definitely see the 100 yards. Okay, 75 yards is more ideal. Okay, so let's go to the Olight. Now the Olight, I did a prior video on this, so. This is a fairly new light that I have been working with. Hold up to the camera so you guys can see it. So I had given this a full charge, okay, and I had given it a full charge 3 days prior to doing the last video, okay. So now all my guns, all my lights, everything is cold stored. So whatever the temperature outside is whatever the temperature of the guns and the ammunition and the lights and the batteries are. So that's never been a problem with the Streamlight, okay. So with this, apparently the cold weather was an issue because when I went to test it 3 days later, and I wasn't even really planning to do like a cold weather test or anything. It's just what the test, so what the weather was. And because I've never had a problem with the Streamlight batteries, I didn't expect to have a problem with the Olight batteries running down. However, when I was testing it out, it was vibrating. Now, if you look in the manual, when it vibrates, that's basically the low battery indicator. Because I had just charged it like 3 days before, I mean, like I didn't put like one and one together that, hey, the battery has run down, I guess because of the cold. So I think that's the issue that I had in the first video. So anyway, I checked the battery this morning, right? Basically, it has one of those magnetic, magnetic rechargers, and it was showing that the battery charge was full. So let's see what this looks like. Okay, so, okay, that's 10 yards, 30 yards, no problem, 50 yards, no problem, 65 yards, 75 yards, 100 yards. Let me go back to the Streamlight. Yep. Streamlight's brighter. I can kind of make my target out at 100 yards. So the Streamlight, even though it's only 1,000 looms, okay, and this is 1250 looms, and even though the batteries are not fully charged on the Streamlight, and I know that the Olight now has fully charged batteries, I can still see further with the Streamlight, okay. But the Olight with the full charge is pretty close, right? Because I can definitely see it 75 yards and 65 yards. And tell you the truth, from what I read, when this thing is vibrating like it was doing in the first video, according to the instructions, it says that the battery is down to about 25%. So from what I could see the other night to what I see now, it's only a minor improvement. Okay, so there's only a minor improvement. Now let me look at basically I'm looking at the width. Before I was looking at the distance, now I'm looking at see, here's the thing, the Streamlight not only throws it further, it's also wider, okay? It's both, it's further and wider. See, the Olight is more focused. The Olight's more focused. It's not as wide, but still at the Streamlight, even though the Olight has a full charge, Streamlight's still beating it. Let's try Feyachi. All right, Feyachi. So this one is, they say 2,000 looms, so supposedly it should be the brightest, but it's also the cheapest. This one is $50, okay, compared to the other two that runs anywhere from $100 to $130, depending on what's going on. So that's 10 yards, that's 30 yards, 50, 65, 75 yards. I can barely make out my target at 100 yards. Okay, I can kind of see the target at 100 yards, but I can barely make it out. Let me go back to the Streamlight at 100 yards. So again, Streamlight, where we do not have do not have new batteries on this. Yeah, I can definitely see the 100 yards, and from this position here, I can actually even see the 150 yards. I couldn't see it from, depending on where I'm angled. Yeah, I can kind of see my target at 150 yards. With the Olight, yeah, I can see a little bit of the white at 150 yards, but I see less of it. With the Feyachi, yeah, Feyachi is definitely the weakest. I mean, it's only $50, but it's definitely the weakest. It's definitely weaker. So I can see 100 yards. Yeah, there's no way I can see my target at the 150 yards. Okay, so you can't go by the looms just because they tell you it's a certain number of looms. I mean, you got to actually, test it at distances. Let's look at the width. how wide is it? So yeah, it's pretty narrow. Now the Feyachi is adjustable where I can make it wider. So right now that is like super wide, but I can barely see my target at 75 yards when it's in super wide mode. So here's the thing, Feyachi is a tool here, right? It's a $50 tool. The place I see for this is like if you're working like around your house or like it's probably not a great idea for the woods, but if you're working around your house and what's already like a pretty well lit area, the wide beam is not bad, or inside of your house, that wide beam is not bad because that is a really wide beam. This beam is like way wider than all the other ones. So it does have a certain advantage, like in certain situations, this wide beam can be very useful on the Feyachi. Now the thing that actually is irritating me on the Feyachi is when I want maximum light, right, and I'm pressing down on this button here, I have to hold it down for a second. So I didn't know how I would feel about it. Like I've been working with it now for about a week. Initially, I thought, hey, maybe that's good because it reduces the chance of an accidental discharge. But it's actually, because with the other lights, it's very easy to have a negligent light discharge, right? Because when you pick this up, I mean, basically that light, it's really, you touch this and it's going on, okay? And it's really easy to shine yourself in the eyes with it. With the Streamlight, which is really bright, what I did is I created this blue light cap, which I already talked about. And the nice thing about that is, like I'm not gonna blast myself in the eyes, and it's also really good for if I want to like shine it and look at something, or read something. I can do it with the blue light. And basically, all that is like blue tape. I made this cap, and I created a lanyard here. So this is actually very practical. This is a great idea. It's been working really good for me. So anyway, going back to the Feyachi, I just want to give you guys my opinion on this. The Feyachi, initially I thought that, hey, maybe this 1 second delay where you got to hold it down might be good for the negligent light discharges. And yeah, it will prevent that. I mean, I have the least amount of negligent light discharges with the Feyachi, but in actually working with this and shooting with it, okay, getting on target and having that 1 second delay when you want to shoot feels like forever, okay? So now you can avoid the 1 second delay by hitting this other button over here. That gives you your low and your medium light, okay? So your low and your medium light is instant, right? You push that, it goes on, you push it, it goes off. So the low and the medium light is instant. However, it's just not enough light, okay? That's the problem with the low and the medium light. So if you want max power, you got to hold down the pressure pad in the middle here for a full 1 second, which you just you hold it down for 1 second, and then if you tap it, it goes off. Okay, so hold it down for 1 second to go on, tap it to go off. So that 1 second is insufferable. It really is if you're actually working with the light at night and doing actual shooting. So here's my thoughts on this. I think that because this is a programming thing. I mean, they can change the programming so that the max light is instant. They can do that. Okay, so the people that program this are not shooters. They're not people that shoot guns at night in the dark. Okay, so that's the problem that I see here with Feyachi. I have less of a problem with the hardware, okay, and more of a problem with the software. Okay, because I don't mind the fact that so much that the light's a little bit weaker. Because in certain situations, you can make it work for you, right? You're spending less money on the light. I mean, you're going to own more than one light. If you own lots of guns, I mean, you're not going to put the most expensive light necessarily on every single gun that you have, right? So you may have your favorite light that goes on your favorite guns, but then you may want some cheaper lights to go on some of, the other guns, right? So I definitely see a place for a budget $50 light, but the 1 second delay to get this on for max beam is just, there's no better word to describe it than insufferable. I didn't feel like that the first day I was working with it because I'm like, okay, maybe it'll grow on me. Like the more you work with it, the more that 1 second delay is like, it just gets on your nerves, okay? And that's a programming thing. They can program that out, In fact, the Streamlight, the way it came with the strobe light, right? Where basically it did the blinky blinky if you pressed it a certain way, which was annoying the shit out of me. So on the Streamlight, I was able to program that out. So with the Streamlight, it doesn't do blinky blinky, right? Because realistically, if you're shooting at night, right, and you want to get bullets on target, you don't want a confusing light. All I want to know is safety off, light on, pull trigger. Light off, safety on. Okay, that's all I want to do when I'm actually shooting at night. You can't confuse me with too much shit, and too many buttons. So the least amount of buttons is, the least amount of things I got to think about for practical shooting is the way it has to be. Now, in other situations, right, like for a pocket light, that might work out pretty good. Like for example, I've got this pocket Olight here, right? This Olight I've had now for at least maybe 5 years. Okay, so with this one, in one setting I get a low light, and then if I click it again, I get a really powerful light. All right, click it again, low light, click it again. You know what? This is a pocket light. Okay, that works fine. I mean, I'm okay with it. That works pretty good because I'm not like trying to like get bullets on target as fast as possible. I can basically, this is for, let's say I drop my keys or something, or I'm trying to, I'm trying to find something on the ground. I can put it on and say, oh, that's the wrong setting. I need more light. Okay, I'll go to that. Oh, that's too much light. I'll go to that. So I have the time to do that, right? But if you're trying to get bullets on target, you don't want to be sitting there trying to figure out which buttons do you press and did the right light come on? Because with this with the Feyachi, it's like if you press the high one over here, you get a high beam, but then if you press it again, you get the low one. Okay. Well, what if I want the low one and I get the medium one, or I want the medium one? So when you're shooting, you want consistency. You want to get the results that you want, when you want them. Okay. You don't want to have to like go through, like rotate through a whole pattern of, okay, this is the low light now. That's the high light. Okay, I got to press it again to the low light. Okay, press it again, get to the light. No, you don't want that. You just want to push the button and what you want comes on. Okay, so that's the thing I kind of wanted to get across here because I think it's a great light for $50. I think the throw's pretty good on this Feyachi, right? I think it's not as good as Streamlight, but it definitely gets out to 75 yards. I was able to make my hit 75 yards earlier tonight with this light. At 100 yards, it's not so great, but fine. Hey, it's a $50 light. But the real problem is that 1 second delay. The other thing worth mentioning, okay, and this applies to both Olight and Feyachi, which are rechargeable batteries. Okay, the way it works is like these batteries run down really fast, and like if you 15 minutes of using the light means that you got to be charging the batteries like for 3 hours. Okay, and that's I didn't think it was going to be that annoying to me, but it's actually that annoying to me. It's really annoying to me. Okay, because it's not only like it just takes so long to charge the batteries, and not only that, now you gotta take the rifle, right? Take this Olight here, and now you got to bring this over to the wall, plug it in, and now it's got to stay in that position, or you got to get an extension because the cables that they give you to charge the lights are not long enough. So now you got to prop the gun up in a certain way so that the light reaches the outlet. So the rechargeable batteries on the lights have in practice, right? In theory, they sound like a great idea, but in practice, they've actually been annoying the crap out of me. And here's the thing: the Streamlight, which does not have the rechargeable batteries, and I'm working with batteries that are like, I don't know, maybe a year old at this point, and I've used a whole bunch of times. It's still producing more light output than either of the other two that have rechargeable batteries. Okay, so unless you're specifically in a situation where you don't have access, you don't have the ability to order like batteries, right, and you have to recharge the batteries. I mean, if that's your situation, fine, then you got to recharge batteries. But for most people, it's going to be a lot more practical to just get the Streamlight, which is what I'm going to recommend. And just buy, get the 20. I think they come like in a 20 pack or a 10 pack of Streamlight batteries. I think they're like $20, and just work with that. I mean, that's my opinion. Having worked with all 3 lights now for more than a week, and like I said, with the rechargeable ones, I was having problems with the cold weather running down the batteries when I really wasn't expecting it to run them down that fast. But the Streamlight batteries, no problem. Okay, so I mean that's not what I was hoping for, right? I was hoping the results were going to be that, hey, I really love these rechargeable batteries. It's going to save me a whole bunch of money. It's going to be so convenient. But that's not the reality, man. That's not what it is. So so anyway. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And yeah, I mean, it has actually been a bit of a learning experience for myself because I didn't expect these results. I've been working with Streamlights for the last 4 or 5 years, so that's kind of set a standard. So now trying some other ones, I kind of, you know, have that standard where I'm trying to either meet or exceed, and it's not getting there. Okay. You know, now like I said, there is the advantage that the other 2 lights are a little bit cheaper than the Streamlight. So, you know, and Streamlight is cheaper than Surefire. I have never tried out Surefire. Never tried any Surefires because, especially back in 2020 when I started getting into the, you know, when I was shopping for lights, I started doing a lot of night shooting. They were like Streamlight. The Surefires were like $300. I'm like, I'm not spending $300 on a freaking rifle light. Okay, so that's why I have never tried a Surefire. I don't even know what the prices are now, but that's one of the problems that, you know, when you start with the prices really high, you know, people go somewhere else. I mean, you know, you kind of like, you know, they may never even try your product down the road if you happen to bring your prices down. Okay, so drop some comments. Talk to you all soon.